Yes, okay. I will fulfill my promise. Say hello to JMAT for me. Okay, bye-bye. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. And you may be able to tell I've been up all night because I was on a conference call with George Washington, who was presided over the Constitutional Convention, and James Madison, JMAD, who essentially was the writer of the Constitution. And they wanted me to express their thoughts on the current state of affairs that we're facing right now today, and I promised them that I would. So here are the things that they had to say, and I'm just sharing them for you and their provocative thoughts. All right. First of all, they tell me that when they designed the Constitution, they designed it so that there would be a separation of powers, judicial, executive, legislative, and that these were divided so that there wouldn't be one tyrannical main force. Also, that what was put into the Constitution was the ability to change things as time dictated. A couple of examples of that would be the fact that women have the right to vote, the civil rights legislation, there's no more slavery, all right? Times changed, situations changed, and when it became prudent, when it became obvious that these changes needed to be made, we made the changes. It took a 3/4 vote, and when we made these changes, it was for the betterment of everyone concerned. One of the things that they also mentioned was it's kind of obvious that, back in the day, the American people were not quite what they are today, and that was why they devised the Electoral College system, sort of a check on the people to make sure that the right person got into the office of the presidency. But one of the questions they ask is, why haven't you changed it? Every 4 years you talk about it. Would you please change it to one man, one vote, so that everybody has an equal vote? That makes much more sense than the electoral system that we currently use that was started, obviously, way back in constitutional days. But let's get to the present day. This was their main area of focus with me on the phone last night. You see, some people see dead people, I speak to dead people. Here's what they said. They said to me, it's very clear that people in public office right now are concerned, for the most part, first with being reelected to that office than they are with solving the problems that the nation is facing. Good example, all right? Just yesterday, as a matter of fact, the president said, well, I'm going to disband the coronavirus task force, and then came back a couple hours later and said, well, you know what, it's so popular, I think we're going to keep it. Is that the reason why you have a task force? Because it's popular? Or you have it because it's necessary and it's some people that can gather the facts, that are experts and can give advice? What is the purpose of that? So we're keeping it because it's popular, more people will vote for me. That's the point. So what was their solution? Very, very simple. When we put someone onto the Supreme Court as a judge, we put them there for life. And the purpose of putting them there for life is so that they won't be politically influenced to make their decisions, and they don't worry that if people don't like that particular decision, they're going to be ousted from their office. Okay, that's all well and good for the Supreme Court. But as a practical matter, can you do that for elected officials? Well, they suggested yes you can and no you can't. Here were the suggestions that they made. First of all, General Washington mentioned to me that when he was president, they wanted to make him a king for life. And he saw that that wasn't going to be a very good thing going forward. So that's why he served 2 terms. And for all intents and purposes, every president recognized that as the precedent, except for FDR. But after he died, then that became the precedent. So now a president can serve no more than 2 terms. His point, General Washington said, what we need to do is we need to give the president that same position that a Supreme Court justice has, which is making decisions based solely on doing the right thing and not worrying about the next election. So what did Madison and Washington recommend? They said, let's limit a president's term of office to one term. One term. Let's make it a 5-year term, all right? Or at the very least, let's make it where you could have 2 5-year terms, but they could not run successively, all right? So you could run 5 years, then you'd be out for 5 years, then you could come back for 5 years. But and that's at the very least. But what they're suggesting is, if you have someone in that office that is not focused at all on their election, then there's only one focus that they can possibly have. And we've seen this in the White House. And it's not just this president. We've seen it with people that run for, representative and senators and so on and so forth. They also suggested that make people in the House of Representatives, let them have a 3-year term. But once again, have a 3-year term and then they're out for 3 years. So that way the decisions that they're making are not based upon what's popular, but rather what's right. Not only that, but when you do it that way, then it gives time. When you make those right decisions, it gives time for those decisions to evolve, and then down the road you can say, see, that was a decision that I came to, was for the benefit of the people. Most people, it wasn't popular, but you can see that it worked out. That's the point. So what we need to do is we need to take the political stuff that goes on in terms of I'm focused on getting elected next November, and change that to I'm here to serve the American people. Does that make any sense at all? It does to me. So these are suggestions from General Washington and JMAD, John Madison, the writer of the Constitution. And I'd be interested in what you think, because it's time for us to focus on this one crisis and get it taken care of. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's all get out there and charge. I'm Eli's dad.